his first qualifying effort in an Indy car, and it's going to eclipse all three of those series. To the line, or is it to the top? Kyle Larson.
Checkered flag. Great.
He goes to the top.
Let's see. How do you make this? I think this is what NASCAR fans are doing this week. McLaren, Kyle Larson mixture. All right, let's just admit it looks silly. We're going with the backup hat, the Jeff Gordon hat. That'll be neutral enough. Yes, Kyle Larson. We have talked about it for weeks, for months, maybe over a year. When was it announced? Anyways, we're getting distracted. About Kyle Larson and the Indianapolis 500, the NASCAR Cup Series champion, making his first ever IndyCar start. And of course, it comes at the biggest event in IndyCar, not just the biggest event in IndyCar, one of the biggest events, racing events in the world. And this weekend was a big one for Kyle Larson. He had to qualify his way into the Indianapolis 500. Unlike NASCAR, where there are charters that lock you into the race based on, as I said, charters, there's not a guarantee that you're in. So firstly, Kyle Larson had to qualify into the race, and it got a little bit scary at first. Larson drew sixth, and drawing early in the day, from what I read, is very important because the track is cooler, it's a lot grippier versus later in the day when it's hot and slick. So Larson was actually able to go out early, and there was, some optimism that he could get out there, put a competitive lap time down, and not only qualify, but maybe make it to the Fast 12. Fast 12 advances to today, Sunday, which you already know he did. But anyways, that he would be able to do that and potentially make a decent run at pole, or at least, the Fast 6 maybe. And that first run did not go too well. Larson put one or two laps down, and then he had some sort of mechanical issue, and he had to bring it down the pit lane. But thankfully, unlike the NASCAR qualifying, you don't only get one run at it. It's 4 laps that average up to your total speed, and that ultimately ends up being your qualifying time. And unlike NASCAR, as I said, not one run, you've got 8 hours, I think, to get in a competitive run. So thankfully, after everyone had gone through, everyone had gotten their competitive laps down, Larson was able to make his second run, and he killed it. He went 6th fastest on the board with an average 4-lap time of 232.563 miles per hour. And thankfully for Larson, that held the rest of the day, advancing him to the Fast 12 today, Sunday. And that meant, he got to continue his quest for an Indianapolis 500 pole. Now, Penske, they dominated qualifying. They were just obliterated everyone. But Larson, still, you want to look at the most competitive start you can get. And Larson has never qualified in IndyCar before. He has only tested an IndyCar before at Indianapolis, some sort of rookie test. He's done Phoenix Raceway, but this was the first big event in Larson's career at IndyCar, in the Indianapolis 500, and he puts it in the Fast 12. And then it escalates from there, because in the Fast 12, he went even faster than he did before with a 4-lap average of 232.788 miles per hour. Just reading those numbers is just crazy. Like the Hendrick Motorsports number 5 team was posting Larson's lap averages, and someone commented, "Is this for North Wilkesboro?" Man, if you think they're going 232 miles an hour at North Wilkesboro at any point, you're crazy. No offense. But just crazy speeds as always at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway for the Indy 500. But Larson now gets to be a part of it this year. And then he advanced to the Fast 6. He was 5th fastest in that Fast 12 segment, meaning he would have another shot at pole position. The first one to go out was Santino Ferrucci, and obviously being the first one out, he was on pole. Woo. And then next up was Larson. It was reverse order of quickest to slowest. So Larson 5th fastest in that Fast 12. So that means that he goes out second because there are only 6 cars. And he put down a lap that was, or a 4-lap average, I should say, that was faster than Santino Ferrucci's. He put down a 232.846. So continuing to go faster each and every time. Here were his lap averages. Lap 1, 233.383. Lap 2, 232.903. Lap 3 was a 232.669. And lap 4 was a 232.433. So Larson just the fastest he's probably ever gone. But Kyle Larson, in his first ever qualifying session at an IndyCar in the Indianapolis 500, he not only makes the field, he doesn't just go to the Fast 12, he goes to the Fast 6, qualifies 5th. He will be on the second row of the 2024, the 108th running of the Indianapolis 500. Genuinely crazy. Jeff Gordon, Jeff Andrews from Hendrick Motorsports are there with him. Obviously, this is a Hendrick Motorsports Aero McLaren joint project to put Larson in that car. McLaren and IndyCar, a competitive team. We saw Pato O'Ward in the Fast 12. We saw Alexander Rossi. He'll be starting right next to or right in front of Kyle Larson. Alexander Rossi's won an Indy 500 before, so he's got good teammates. He's got a good car, but he's going to be starting 5th in the 2024 Indianapolis 500. As for right now, as soon as he was done, as soon as he realized he was not winning pole position after Rossi out-qualified him, got in a car, headed over to a helicopter, and that helicopter's heading to an airport, and he's about to fly to North Wilkesboro. The All-Star Open happening as we speak. Larson already locked into the All-Star race. In fact, they pushed back the start of the All-Star race for Kyle Larson. So Larson, this is a huge deal for NASCAR. It's a huge deal for Larson. It's a huge deal for everyone involved, because the double is a huge deal to try to complete the Indy 500 and the Coke 600. NASCAR should not be stubborn that one of their biggest stars is going to race somewhere else in their biggest event. They should, as they are doing, embrace it. They should promote it. They should talk about what Larson's doing. It's such a big deal that Kyle Larson is doing it. And not just that so far he's been competitive. He has shown competitive speed. So I'm curious to see how Larson's going to do next week. I'm excited, but tonight he's got an all-star race to compete in. But man, Indy 500 qualifying always thrills. Scott McLaughlin's on pole for the Indianapolis 500 next week. But just from the last chance qualifier, the bump, a 19-year-old Nolan, I can't remember his last name, but got bumped, and he was pushing to the absolute limit in his last qualifying run, literally to the point that he crashed. That's how hard he was pushing. But Indy 500 qualifying, always exciting, always thrilling. I wish NASCAR had a qualifying session like this, man. I'm not saying they got to go out there for 8 hours for a race, but with the charters locking everyone in, and it's you're in the race. Like if we had something like this for the Daytona 500, you look at Marcus Ericsson. He was in that last bump group. He won the Indianapolis 500 2 years ago, and there was a chance that he could miss the 500. Could you imagine if we had that in NASCAR? Man, that'd be cool, but it's asking for too much. Anyways, before I get on more of a side tangent, All-Star race tonight. I'll let you guys know how Larson does for those of you who care, but it is it's an exciting time to be a NASCAR fan. Exciting time if you're a Kyle Larson fan. Exciting times. So let me know what your thoughts were on Larson's first ever qualifying effort in IndyCar at the Indianapolis 500. And next week's the big one, the Indianapolis 500. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I hope you are too.